Well, welcome to Partner 5 in 5. Great to be back with you. Robert here from Night Solutions. I've joined with Abby from Openspace, which is great. So we're going to spend a bit of time talking about that. How are you doing this morning, Abby?
Yeah, really good. Really good, thank
Fantastic.
you.
It's good to have another integration partner, and this one a bit of a different one from what we've looked at before. Definitely kind of heading more down the visual type of integration. So as usual, 5 questions in 5 minutes, or as best as we can keep to 5 minutes. We do like to have a bit of a chat, but let's jump straight in with the first question for you, Abby, especially for people who haven't seen OpenSpace or may have heard of it but not quite sure what it is. Can you tell us really critically what problems OpenSpace is trying to solve for those in construction?
Yeah, so I guess OpenSpace can solve a couple of problems, but our capture product solves the problem of old methods of photo documentation on a site, which is generally someone just taking photos of progress on their site on their phone and then
Okay.
uploading those photos to a random place.
Yeah.
And I guess generally those photos just disappear when that person moves on.
Gotcha.
With the open space capture product, you're
Yeah.
capturing your job site passively with
Okay.
360-degree photos in a standard site walk.
Yep.
Um, and then those photos are automatically mapped to your site plans and stored
Oh,
on
awesome.
open space.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
so
great. Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, I used to run a lot of construction projects, and getting to site all the time wasn't always easy. So I imagine it kind of bridges that gap between the office and the site as well.
yeah, exactly. And there's a really good ease of use piece with it as well. So not only is it easy for everyone to kind of collaborate with each other and coordinate with what's going on site, even if
Perfect.
they're not on site, there's
Yeah.
also the ability, it's also really easy for whoever's on site to actually capture
Okay, fantastic. That
what's
sounds
going
really
on.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent. Well, let's talk a bit more about who the product's for. So, from your perspective at OpenSpace, I mean, obviously you're probably working with a range of customers, but what is the typical kind of best fit type of customer, and within that type of customer, what roles within the business does OpenSpace get used by the most heavily or provides the most benefit?
Well, I guess that's an interesting question. I think open space was originally kind of set for head contractors or builders.
Hmm.
But I guess nowadays we've got a range of people on it. We've got
Yep.
owners, trades, fit out companies, consultants,
Okay.
people in the facilities management space. So they're
Okay. Yeah,
all,
that's interesting. Yeah.
yeah. So I guess anyone that really needs a visual record of a place or a site.
Gotcha. And any specific roles you're finding? Let's say during, let's pick a sort of commercial building company, doing some decently large work. What roles within that business? Is it the project manager, the site manager? Who tends to use it the most?
Yeah, honestly, everyone, like
Everyone.
generally,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, generally we have maybe a site manager or an engineer who would generally go and do the actual capture.
Yep.
But in terms of using that visual record, you've got engineers and CAs, which can verify work done.
Hmm.
PMs or project managers can monitor visual progress
Yeah.
against their schedule.
Mm.
Um, and then if you've got owners, for example, they can track the progress and maintenance of their properties across multiple
Yeah,
um,
that's great.
as
I
well.
yeah, early on in the construction career, I was contracts administrator, so processing lots of claims.
Yep.
And I imagine that site progress would be pretty handy for someone trying to, approve financial claims based upon site progress as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
fantastic.
We've actually had stories of people who have knocked off 20 grand off a progress claim,
Yeah,
just in a
yeah.
month.
Well, it is a little bit of a black art sometimes. So being able to
Yeah.
see when that happened, it's all time based. That's really important.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, so a lot of the people we work with are new or existing Procore customers. So I think OpenSpace has been an integration partner of Procore for some time. You guys have a pretty close relationship. So
Yep.
let's say I'm a building company, I have Procore, I've also got OpenSpace. What does that mean to me? How do those products connect, and what benefits do I get there?
Yeah, so we actually have two fundamental ways that we integrate with Procore.
Okay.
The first is that you can get the OpenSpace app in the Procore marketplace.
Okay.
That gives you the ability to access OpenSpace, sorry, within Procore itself in our embedded
Okay.
experience.
Oh,
And
that's
then
awesome.
you can access all the features of OpenSpace without having to leave Procore.
Yeah, yeah. I know that embedded experience is a pretty popular one because it feels like you're still inside a Procore, even though you are actually running
Exactly.
open space. Okay. And
Yeah.
you said there's another way, a second.
Yeah. So the other way is really handy for site teams or people in the field. So at the moment, you can push RFIs, observations, and defects from OpenSpace to Procore with our field
Oh,
notes
really?
tool. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you're actually creating them in Openspace, and
that's it.
awesome. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So you're looking at that footage or that those still captures.
Yeah, well, field notes are effectively just an additional photo that you can take with your phone
Okay.
that get captured against a 360 photo as well.
Yeah.
And then you can push them through to
Oh,
those
that's great.
respective modules. Yeah.
So if I didn't create that RFI, but someone else did in Openspace, and
Yep.
it's now in Procore, I can look at it in Procore, and then I can go back to where it was in
That's
Openspace.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, because a lot of the time, we do often find people are, they're busy, so they're creating things sometimes in retrospect, and they're not sure where to pin it onto the drawing, which is a very popular feature in
Yep.
Procore. It works really well when you're doing it in the moment, but having that capture, being able to do it from a visual point of view and then bring it back in, that sounds really great. So it was RFIs, defects, and observations. Is
That's
that
it.
correct? Okay,
Yep.
which are probably in the top 5-10 highly used tools in Procore. So that's great.
Yeah.
Let's talk a bit more about. We've talked about the product, but let's say I purchase Openspace. What's the experience that I'm going to have in terms of onboarding or implementation, and then once that's done and we're using it, what is the customer support sort of experience going forward?
Yeah, so I'm a customer success manager for Australia and New Zealand.
Okay,
So
sure.
I'm responsible for the implementation, I guess, deployment of
Yep.
most projects when they come onto Openspace, at least in this region.
Mm-hmm.
So that involves maybe alignment with the main team, just to make sure that we understand how they want their teams to use it and
Yeah.
what value they want to get out of Openspace. So
Yeah.
from there, I do onboardings, we do check-ins, I make sure engagement stays the way that we want it.
Sure. Yeah.
And then in terms of general support, we've got customer support members all over the world. So we're a global company,
Okay.
ANZ, APAC, EMEA,
Yeah.
and the US. So most time zones are covered as well.
Right. Is it like phone and email support, that type of thing?
Yeah, that's right.
Excellent. And I guess one of the things that's a bit different for Openspace is compared to a number of other integrations is obviously there's a hardware element involved as well. We hadn't talked about that before. I know it's kind of a little bit outside of this question, but how does that work in terms of having the right camera and that sort of process? Because obviously we need to physically record it. It's not just software. There's the hardware involved as well.
Yeah, so I guess all you really need in terms of hardware is a 360 camera. So at the moment, our two main cameras are the Insta360 X2 and the Ricoh Z1.
Okay, sure.
We're actually about to support a couple of new other cameras from the Insta360, but
Excellent.
that's really effectively all the hardware you need. We send you the mounts and accessories that attach to your hard hat as well.
That's great. And I imagine you could, once you got the the hardware, you could use it for other things apart from Openspace.
Oh, yeah, exactly. They're
so
just off the shelf 360
fantastic.
cameras.
So we could use it for other marketing endeavors. So it's good to know it's not kind of, I guess the old days of mobile phones, you get a phone, it's locked to the network, you can't do anything else with it. But this sounds like you can do a lot of other things. So that's great.
Yeah.
We're getting through a bit of time, enjoying the conversation, but one more question, which I'm always curious about, especially from my time working at Procore. 6-12 months from now, what's going to change with Openspace? Or any kind of features or options or things that you're going to add that will really be of interest to customers?
Yeah, I think probably in the very near future, like I mentioned before, we're going to work on or we're going to start supporting all the new cameras that are coming out. So like the Insta360 Sphere, which is the drone camera for Insta360.
Yeah.
And the RS 1-inch. We've done a lot of work in terms of being able to scale projects and looking at admin reporting within Openspace as well. But I think in terms of the most exciting things, we're doing lots of work in getting more use out of the BIM model.
That's definitely a growing area.
Yeah, we've got sheet to BIM overlays in beta. And we've also got the ability to compare the BIM model against the granular view of our OS track module as well.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds interesting, because I think one of the things I was actually talking to someone about this yesterday. I'm seeing, digital twins and that type of software pop up constantly. So I imagine what you guys do in terms of capture would be a great ingredient into, digital twins or general documentation as well. So that sounds really cool. And BIM is kind of the, it's been around for a while, but it's kind of becoming a bit more, it's filtering down to the everyday person these days. So it's great that you're tackling that.
Especially in Australia and New Zealand, I think, as well.
Yeah, I think here, and I think we could broadly say APAC generally. I know
Yeah,
Singapore's been a big leader as well.
Yeah.
But look, I know we definitely chunked through more than 5 minutes, but it's been a good chat. But we're going to wrap it up there. We'll provide some information for anyone who's curious about Openspace and also the integration with Procore itself. But Abby, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and hopefully we'll catch up soon.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Abby. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.